Good Friday to you all. We are live here on American Gay Sports Network. We're not in Naples right now. We are in Boston, which is a good thing because Naples just got flooded by Hurricane Ian. And most of it's underwater. I got a lot of friends, and they're telling me that it's not as bad as it sounds on the major news networks, who, of course, are looking for sound bites and everyone to come off looking as if they went through a war, battle, or some sort of turmoil. Yes, there was flooding, but mostly around the coast. And with that, it's clobbering time. Let's get ready to rumble. It's time to talk about what's happening in the NFL for week 4. And we will begin with the Vikings going up against the Saints. Yes, the Vikings against the Saints. What's there to say in this one other than Kirk Cousins going against Jameis Winston? Well, they're playing in New Orleans. And that being said, New Orleans is kind of a home advantage for the Saints. So the Saints should win. And the Vikings should gracefully lose, as they usually always do when they're on the road, and sometimes even when they're at home. Next, we'll move on to the Seahawks going to Detroit to play the Lions. Now, we would think home field advantage would be for the Lions, and that means the Lions would come out with a win. Since they lost last week, they had a chance to go 2 games in the winning column, but no. That has not happened since 1940s or maybe the 1950s or maybe and God knows when this ever happened, that they've won 2 games in a row. So we will just go with this. The Lions are playing in Detroit, and they're playing the Seahawks, and the Seahawks should lose, but they lost last week, and the Lions should win, but they lost last week. I'm going with the Lions. Yes, Detroit. We're going to Detroit. Okay, moving on. The Jets against the Steelers. Now, Joe Flacco has been carrying the load for the Jets, and the Jets have won 1 out of 3, I believe it is. So now their second-year guy, the number 2 draft pick in the NFL last year, is Zach Ryan. I believe his name is Zach Ryan, is going to actually play. He's been cleared to play, so he's going to go against the Steelers, and the Steelers are playing at home. Listen, this is going to be an ugly game. Both teams suck. That's right. The Steelers suck with Mitch Trubisky, and New York Jets, well, they've been one of the worst teams of the last 3 years that we know of. So they're playing at home. Let's give it to the Steelers. Are we going to say the Jets are going to go in there and beat them? I highly doubt it. So that being said, we're going to go with the Steelers. And then we're going to move on to the Bears against the Giants. Really? I guess they have to play one another eventually. The Bears against the Giants. The Bears have Justin Fields. The Giants have Dan Jones as their quarterbacks. And the Giants have actually won 3 games. So they're 3-1. And the Bears, I'm not sure what the Bears are, but it doesn't matter. The Bears are going to the Giants Stadium and will probably lose to the Giants. Unfortunately for everybody who's ever watched the NFL, the Giants will probably win this game. Then we have the Titans going against the Colts. The Titans finally won a game last week, beating the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Colts surprisingly upset the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Yeah, but don't expect that to happen again. No, the Colts aren't going to win, okay? The Titans are going to go in there and kick some horse butt. And since the Colts won last week, and we're on a high all week, I'm sure they're still on the high, and it's Friday at 11:33 right now. It's Friday, and I'm sure they're still on the high, which means it's going to be easier for the Tennessee Titans, to go in there and kick some horse butt, which should happen. Next, we have the Chargers against the Texans. And the Chargers got waxed last week by Jacksonville. Yes, by Jacksonville. But Jacksonville is showing that they have a heck of a defense. They went in there and they kicked the crap out of the Chargers in Los Angeles, where they play now. So the Chargers are going to the Texans, and after getting beat by the Jaguars, which they obviously did not expect, Trevor Lawrence, second-year guy, has not looked that great, but looked like Joe Willie Namath last week. That being said, I'm going with the Chargers going against the Texans. Who is the Texans quarterback? That's my point. That's my point. The Browns will be playing the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons actually won a game last week. Yes. They went into Seattle and beat the Seattle Seahawks. Not that Seattle's dealing with has much to talk about. I mean, there's no Legion of Boom there. It's a good thing Russell Wilson's not there, and they probably wouldn't have won a game. That being said, the Browns are going into Atlanta and should beat Atlanta. Marcus Mariota is the new quarterback. They won last week on the road. I'm sure they are still on a high, and that being high will lead to a new low, which is losing in Atlanta to the Cleveland Browns and Jacoby Brissett, the starting quarterback, who was going to be the backup quarterback, but is now the starting quarterback because Deshaun Watson was suspended 6 games. This being game number 4. There's only 2 more games to go before Deshaun will be back, and Cleveland will be a playoff contender. I will guarantee you that by the end of this year. Then we have the Commanders going into Dallas. The eyes of Texas. The stars are brighter. The moon is brighter. The figures are just bigger and wider in Texas. And we have the Washington Commanders with Carson Wentz. Yes. Carson Wentz going into Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys. The Washington Commanders with Carson Wentz. Dallas should get this game, even with the backup quarterback, who looks like he should be the starting quarterback. Dak Prescott probably shouldn't get that job back. You know, just rest Dak until this guy gets hurt, because Dak always seems to play better when he's the guy coming in for the guy who's playing, like he did against Tony Romo. He looked great when Tony Romo was the quarterback. And he came in and took Tony Romo's place. He looked fantastic. He looked like a guy of the future. He looked like a star. He looks fantastic. Then he got in there and everything's just been downhill. So maybe let this guy keep playing, establish himself. And since he's a young guy, he's probably going to come down with an injury. Then Dak can go in there and actually win a game and look good doing it, and thereby solidify himself as, well, whatever he can solidify himself as long as he wins. We have the Jaguars, the upstart, surprising Jacksonville Jaguars going in to Philadelphia. They take on the 0-3 Eagles. The Eagles have won all of their games. Let me just check that. I believe that's so. Yeah, 0-3. The Jaguars are actually 2-1. Now, the problem with the Chargers and the problem with the team that the Jaguars snuck up on the week before, because the Jaguars beat the Colts 24-0. Then they beat the Chargers 38-10. Now, those teams, well, they didn't see Jacksonville coming. So Jacksonville had an advantage, a serious advantage. They saw the Jacksonville the last 3 years with the worst record in the NFL over the last 3 years. So even when Jacksonville beat the Colts last week, the Chargers couldn't believe it. So, I mean, they'd be like, oh, yeah, Jacksonville's coming into town. And you know what? This should be an easy one. Everyone, let me have another, double that ice cream. Yeah, and I'll have an extra helping of chicken wings and French fries. We're playing Jacksonville. All right? Stop bothering me, man. And so that happened. But this ain't going to happen this week because the Eagles and the rest of the NFL now know Jacksonville is no joke. Jacksonville is going to come in there and they're going to kick some butt, but they won't be able to kick the Eagles' butt because the Eagles are going to be ready for them. And the Eagles are going to be looking at them like, oh, yeah, we saw you coming. And so because we saw you coming, we're ready for you guys. So I expect a healthy dose of a pass rush on Trevor Lawrence the whole game long. They're going to make it hard on him. If they make it hard on him, that offense is done as far as I can see. I say Eagles, and they're at home. Next, we have the Bills going against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is a blockbuster matchup. The Bills are going to be on the road for the second week in a row, and that's terrible for them, but they're going to have to go through this type of thing. They're going to be playing the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. Now, this is a tough game to gauge. Okay, what would I think? I think they're going to have a tough time with Lamar Jackson, but the Ravens should have a tough time with Josh Allen. And it really depends on this, from what I can see. Who jumps on who first? If the Bills get out 14-3 lead, game's over. They can milk the clock and they can go after Jackson. Jackson's still a better runner than a thrower. He can't thread the needle. He can hit a guy on the fly. He can hit a guy on the down and out, the post, but he can't thread the needle that well. He's not an accurate thrower, but he's a great runner. But Josh Allen is a great runner. But if Baltimore gets out in front, then it's going to be a rocket race to the finish. But if Buffalo gets out in front, I expect Buffalo to win. But I'm taking Baltimore because they're at home, and this is the second week in a row that the Bills have had to play on the road, which doesn't bode well for any team. Even the best team in the league, which the Buffalo Bills arguably are, with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and a couple of other guys that they have. Gabe Davis. We have the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, with Kyler Murray, who LaShawn McCoy said is a high school quarterback, which he is. I can't understand why they gave him so much money. But it's really not for me to say. But they have him as their quarterback. Now, that being said, they're going into Charlotte, North Carolina to play the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers have Baker Mayfield. And Kyler Murray may be a high school quarterback, but he's still better than Baker Mayfield. Sorry, Baker. Something happened. Your arm got hurt, and everyone forgot to tell everyone else in the league, but we're seeing it now. Good luck to you, but I'm taking the Cardinals. And in a game that should finally get the Raiders off the snide, the Broncos are coming to town. Yes, the Broncos are coming to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. And so that's Russell Wilson against Derek Carr. And I'm taking Las Vegas all the way. As a matter of fact, this should be a blowout. It should be something like 27-10 at the very least. So I've seen what the Broncos offense, and I've seen what Russell Wilson can and can't do. And mostly it's what he can't do. That being said, Las Vegas should triumph and get their first win of the season in ceremonious style, like easily, like a festive parade, like Macy's Thanksgiving. They should be just waiting for the Broncos to show up. Then we have the Patriots going to Green Bay to play the Green Bay Packers. And I know this is going to surprise you. I know this is going to surprise you. But I'm picking the Green Bay Packers to beat the New England Patriots, who might be playing with Brian Hoyer. And this should be a pretty good blowout. Green Bay should beat them like 24-10, if not 27-10. It should be an easy game. Aaron Rodgers should have his way with it. And in the game of the week, yes, bar none, it ain't the Patriots against the Packers. It ain't the 49ers against the Rams, the Rams should blow them out. 49ers have looked like crap, and Jimmy Garoppolo included. I love you, Jimmy, but you look timid back there. But the game of the week in week 4 is that the Kansas City Chiefs are traveling to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are going down to Tampa Bay, which just experienced a bit of Hurricane Ian, to play Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is the game of the week, and I expect a blowout. That's right. I'm not going with some middly, squeaking around. It's going to be a 3-point win. It's going to be a 6-point, a 5-point win. I'm taking Tampa Bay by at least 10. Why? Because it just has to happen. Brady is pissed off. That defense is pissed off. Everyone in Tampa Bay is pissed off. I mean, the hurricane, the whole 9 yards and everything, and Giselle and Hurricane Ian and just losing to Green Bay last week with people dropping passes because there's no receiver. I will predict that Tom Brady will punt, pass, kick, and catch the ball in order to win. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the preview from the Amazing Grace Sports Network, where we bring the passion, the spirituality, and the unity of sports into play. Now, on another note, this is week 4, and we've had some issues with player durability. I was a little bit miffed when the NFL went to 17 games, as if 16 wasn't enough for the average player to endure physically and mentally in a season. The NFL is a tough game. Now, we just seen Tua Tagovailoa go out last night for a concussion, and we can expect more players to go out. And I'm disappointed that the NFL does not choose player safety over money, or the fact that the union can't seem to get any traction when it comes to player safety, as far as restrictions on the games and of that sort. They could have a 17-game season or 18-game season. All right, well, okay. Give them 2 weeks off. Give them two bye weeks. Why not? Wouldn't that have been the smart thing to do, NFL? If you're going to ask them to play another game, give them an extra game off so that they can be there. You want butts in the seats. You want hot dogs in the fans' hands, beer in the cup holders. What about the players? Couldn't they have deserved 1 more week off to survive, to repair themselves, to rejuvenate, to regenerate, to be ready for the next game if it's going to be 17 games? Wouldn't that have just been easy to do? Okay. If any athlete would want to chime in on this, let me know. You can leave comments. Anywhere you go, you can leave it on the website. You can leave it on the Melon. You can leave it on YouTube. You can leave it on Twitter. Whatever you want to do. We have websites all over. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube and give us likes and that type of thing. But whether you're an athlete or a fan, come on. Would one more week have made a difference that you couldn't have gave these guys 1 more week off, asking them to play 17 games in the most brutal of sports, in the most brutal sport? Well, that's just me. I'm here for you. I'm here for the athlete. Well, management, you got to show a little bit more if you want me to be on your side, but I doubt you care. With a couple of billion in your pocket, you could care less what I say or what anybody says. Still, I'm speaking for the fan, the athlete. 1 more week. It's the least you could have done. And with that, It was clobbering time. So we came out and we hit it hard. We said what teams were good, what teams were bad, what quarterbacks, and that means Joe Flacco, who actually carried the New York Jets, he's going to be sitting. But you know what? Joe needs the rest. And Joe, don't get too comfortable, because I have a feeling that Zach Wilson is not going to last too long before he's injured again. It's just my personal observation that might come true and might not come true. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, sports fans and people everywhere, I'm going to sign off and say thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching this podcast, this live stream. Leave your comments. Have anything you want to say. Say it. Get it out there. We take all comments. We're not scared of anything. We don't block your comments. We don't curtail it. But do keep it clean. And do keep it tasteful. Because that's what we want to do. Promote the passion, the spirituality, and the unity of sports here on the Amazing Grace Sports Network. I am Clay Morris signing off saying, have fun. Week 4, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the games. And remember, enjoy yourselves even more. Have a good day.